What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Pet Shop Boys, and we're going back to their sophomore album, actually, 1987, and we're up to the tune Rent. I think the famous musical of the same name comes from like a decade after this, so I assume there's no connection there. And yeah, if it is a more general concept of rent, then it's basically in reference to those who do not own property, who do not own the space in which they live, those who pay others for the right to live in a certain space. And of course, you know, different renters have different experiences, but there are, you know, sort of stereotypical obstacles, or let's say difficulties, that come with renting and living the renter's life. So perhaps it relates to socioeconomic conditions. Again, a couple of these tracks do seem to be in relation to sort of, you know, the economic and political, let's say, conservatism and sort of fiscal austerity of the 80s. So perhaps it will, again, relate to like a socio-economic kind of perspective on those who rent, those who do not own their own homes. But I guess we'll find out. This is Pet Shop Boys. Hello, Luca. Make moving on my chair much more difficult. This is Pet Shop Boys. The tune is Rent, and it's from their 1987 album, Actually.
You dress me up, I'm your puppet. You buy me things, I love it. You bring me food, I need it. You give me love, I feed it. And look at the two of us in sympathy with everything we see.
I love his
don't
voice.
want anything, it's easy. You buy whatever I need. Look at my hopes, look
tunes were like making me emotional. But yeah, it's really interesting. Lyrically, it felt like there were definitely, socioeconomic connotations to the lines, but it felt like maybe it was a sort of like, one person comes from a wealthy and privileged background, the other person doesn't, and sort of like part of the dynamic is that like, I love you, and also part of that is you paying my rent, or you're sort of like taking me to these places off Broadway, eating caviar and so on. So maybe part of the excitement and the interaction is based on coming from different socioeconomic places. But either way, the Sonics were amazing, and like I said, it had a bit of an edge to it, but it also had just this soaring beauty to it, and I love his voice. Just in general, like he's, there's a few things I've said about it. Like there are moments where he sings in a way that's kind of very dreamy, and it makes me feel like I'm in this kind of trance state. There's a couple tunes, perhaps none more memorably to me than That's My Impression, where he really pushes it to a higher level, and I believe, as he phrased it, kind of sings like a rock star. Or was that like Chris talking about him? I forget the way that was phrased. I think that was like Neil saying that, and then Chris was saying like, oh, you should do that more often. Like, oh, I didn't realize you thought that. Which again, a couple of you, Izzy and Seb in particular, the sort of quotes that you provided from them, they do seem to be very funny individuals as well. But yeah, in this one, he was sort of like singing in a way that like it basically combined aspects of that. There were moments where it was feeling very like sweet and emotional, but there were other times where it kind of like it had a bit like more emphasis or like power to it. So yeah, I really enjoyed his vocal delivery as well. So yeah, bottom line, let me know what you think of this one. I am going to continue to go through maybe like 2 disco tracks for every Actually track, so hopefully we get to the end of disco first, and then we'll continue on through Actually. I do think there's some B-sides maybe that I still have to go through, maybe 1 or 2 like the Please B-sides, and I have Actually B-sides as well, so lots more Pet Shop Boys is what I'm saying. Do let me know what you think of this one. I will see you next time. Peace.